Hello friends, today we will start with another video, and in this video we will discuss Arthur Miller's All My Sons. As we all know that Arthur Miller is an American playwright, and he is known basically for social awareness, the combination of social awareness with the searching concern of his characters' inner lives. And the best work of Arthur Miller is Death of a Salesman. And it also received Pulitzer Prize, Death of a Salesman. And this is his masterpiece. Now, when we talk about Miller's childhood, then it was the early childhood was privileged one, but later on, after the Wall Street crash that took place in 1929, all of his family fortune vanished, and then he had to work for his living, for his studies. He married three times, and his second wife's name is Marlene Monroe, as we all know. She was also a big star. Now, coming back to the writings of Miller, so a consistent theme in Miller's writing is suicide, and most of the characters, especially the major characters in his plays like After the Fall, Death of a Salesman, The Ride Down Mount Morgan, All My Sons, they either take their lives, or they, if they are not successful, then they at least attempt to take their own lives. And sometimes it's only hinted at in the play. In The Crucible, also, several of the main characters deliberately choose their unjust death with their morals and conscience intact, rather than saving their own skins by naming others as witches. So, this is a consistent theme. Why does Miller wants to focus on this darker side of a person's self? We need to look into the in his more into his writings. Now, in All My Sons, which was written in 1947, and it, actually it's the sad post World War II story in which the Kellers, a seemingly all American family, the father, Joe Keller, actually has done a crime and a sin as well. And it was concealed, and the crime he did was during the war, and the story is the post-war story, right? So, and the story becomes sad because of the sin committed by Joe Keller, the protagonist of the play, All My Sons. His sin was that he allowed his factory to ship faulty airplane cylinders to the US Armed Forces. Because of this, over 20 American pilots died. So, after the death of all these 21 pilots, this is the presentation, the theatrical presentation of the play, because as it starts in the backyard of Joe Keller's house. So the way of living, what was the American uh, style of living, the American dream is also emphasized in the play. Now, coming back to Joe Keller, who is uneducated and unpolished, and he's also presented as the epitome of class capitalism, who either cannot or who chooses not to think beyond money or beyond business or success and profit. So he thinks only, you know, within these. Uh, mm, within the premises of business, money, and because he wants to support his family, he says that he's supporting his family. That is the reason he wants to make more and more money. And this is the only justification he gives to his sons also when they ask him that why did he do that crime of selling the faulty cylinders and which resulted in the death of the pilots. The main characters, Joe Keller being the protagonist, Kate Keller, his wife, Chris Keller, Larry Keller are their sons, so they are Keller family. Larry, he is no more. In the play, we find Chris only. Then the neighbor family, Ann Deaver, who is actually Larry's fiancée, but after Larry's death, now Chris and Anne want to marry each other. So they have an affair in which they want to materialize in the form of a marriage. George Deaver is Anne's sibling brother. Dr. Jim Bellis and Sue Bellis are their neighbors also. Frank Luby and Lydia Luby is the couple who now lives in the Deaver's house as our play All My Son starts in Act 1. So Deavers have moved from the place since Steve Deaver and Deaver's father is in prison because of this crime of selling the faulty planes. Since Joe has shifted this responsibility onto Steve Deaver, and Steve Deaver is Anne and George's father. Bird is a boy of 8 years, as we come to know during the course of the. Now, two major events that took place before the start of Act One of All My Sons is number one is that Joe Keller and his former business partner Steve Deaver. Steve Deaver is Anne's father were accused of and they tried for selling defective cylinder heads of military planes. Now Joe Keller turned the trial against Steve Deaver and he gained his freedom while Steve was convicted and he's in prison. And also his daughter Anne is also against the what her father has done, and she doesn't want to visit him in prison. The second thing that has already taken place before the start of Act 1 is Keller's son Larry has been missing since his plane crashed 3 years ago during the war. So these were the two major events that took place before the start of Act 1, and then that one starts in the backyard of Joe Keller's household. Now, by the end of Act 3, because this is a play of three acts, we come to know that a curse has fallen upon the family of Callers in a figurative sense, because figuratively on the family of Callers, but they symbolize all of the American families. The family unit of Kellers symbolize all the American families. If someone has never been a moral and has not accomplished his responsibility towards the nation, then definitely they have to pay the price of this irresponsibility. This is the main point which Miller wants to make in his play All My Sons. Now, the Keller family patriarch, by placing money above moral commitment to others, has cursed the family and brought on its destruction. Joe Keller, in his last words, sees other men as all my sons, and he speaks the ideal of Miller, playwright who wished the post war world to evolve into a better theater for humankind, all fathers and all sons call one family. Now, this is the message of Arthur Miller, and thank you for watching my video. Inshallah, I'll come back with another one. Allah Hafiz.